Hi, I'm Brent Sinclair and welcome to our property update. This month I'm joined by Luke Berry, a prominent developer with Thirdi Group, with a group with $2 billion worth of project pipeline coming up, predominantly in Sydney but also here in Newcastle. Thanks for joining us today, Luke.
It's great to be here, thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. So you and the team, Luke, have settled into the West End. You've had 5 projects in various stages within 5 years, all within around 300 metre radius of each other. And the West End's really had a transformation, really from the catalyst being the development of the interchange and the light rail. So I suppose I'm curious to see, what's your perspective on the price growth from when you began until now?
Well, look, first, we love Newcastle. It's one of the best markets in Australia, and we've been very lucky to be developing our type of property here for nearly 10 years. And when I think about the journey, we started with the old Tattersalls on Watt building up the east part of Newcastle City CBD, and I think back and we were launching properties for $6,500 a metre.
Wow.
Now when you think about that, in about 7 years ago would have been Tattersalls. We're now selling a similar product. We've most probably got a little bit better in what we do and what we create with Scotty Shaffron from Base Build, but we're now averaging $10,500 a metre.
Wow.
So that gives you an idea of the growth that Newcastle's experienced, and we play in that space of not the ultra high end where we think there is an investment. You can't overcapitalise in a market like Newcastle, and you're selling stuff for $14,000 a metre now in the CBD of Newcastle and around those premium suburbs. But we're very comfortable West End with the way that the CBD is shifting west to get that sort of $10,000 a metre, which is great value for us and good for the clients as well. Yeah,
great. And your buyer profile, what's the balance of investors versus owner-occupiers for your products?
It's really changed. When we launched, it was like going back to Tattersalls, because there's Tattersalls on Watt, and there's the Huxley apartments that's sort of in the middle of the CBD, and it was more investor-driven sales for Newcastle. And now what I'm seeing with the West End and that desire to stay local, downsize, we've got the Eaton apartments, it's about 114 apartments. That was around 60% owner-occupier, 40% investor. And Stella, which is our premium product right on the edge of the West End with those beautiful harbour views, I think it's 70% owner-occupier and 30% investor. So it's definitely the dynamic shift, and it's more people wanting to buy something to live in, not so much to rent out.
Yeah, excellent. And there's obviously been a lot going on over the past 12 months, and you do quite a few projects in Sydney as well. What trends are you expecting that are coming into Sydney that might be hitting Newcastle in the short to medium term? Yeah,
well look, Newcastle's one of the more desirable parts of New South Wales to live in. It's got great infrastructure, it's a really diverse centre. So we're seeing a lot of Sydney buyers actually choosing to invest here or to own and live, occupy and commute back to Sydney. And that COVID change, which we're calling it, is something we're tracking closely. We see that the silver lining of COVID is, for someone like Newcastle, is it's made this city make sense for young families, first home buyers that maybe want to live here a few days a week, stay with mum and dad a couple of nights, but own their property here in Newcastle and base themselves here. So we don't see that changing, and if anything, COVID sped that up. Like, that was already happening. I've got a lot of friends that moved up here because the affordability issue in Sydney it's crazy. It's a very expensive place to buy or build property. Newcastle, you can spend $700,000 here on an amazing apartment. That's going to get you on the city fringe of Sydney somewhere, away from that CBD or that lifestyle. So people are opting to buy and live locally and then maybe work in Sydney a few days a week. And we're really going to embrace it on our next project.
Yep. And you've the group's diversified into seniors living, and you've got an exciting project in Mereweather at the golf course.
Yeah.
There. What can you tell us about that?
Well, look, it's just fantastic. You know, that postcode, let's face it, Mereweather's, you know, we've got a saying that there's two types of people, those that want to live in Mereweather and those that do, you know. So we're really lucky that the Mereweather Golf Club has partnered with us. We've got a scheme that's going to deliver around 150 apartments. That comes with a whole heap of resort facilities and lifestyle, a lot of amenity. So to have that in Mereweather, only moments to the beach and on one of the best golf courses in the region, it's going to be one of those moments in time where we think that people that want to retire and live in Newcastle, it's going to be a pretty hard product to not be part of. Because of those, you know, it ticks a fair few boxes for a lot of people.
Yeah, excellent. And back to the West End, you've purchased the Dairy Farmers Corner. What's your future plans for that site?
Well, look, it's the best bookend of the West End. And we've got a saying, you know, when we've launched nearly 500 apartments now, the West End's where it's at, and the continued investment into that western part of the CBD. We'll most probably deliver around 200 apartments, but what we're going to load that thing up with is more amenity than that Newcastle's ever seen. So we've got a vision that, particularly with what we talked about before, COVID and wanting to work from home. So the level of collaboration spaces and work, we're not going to compromise design or space, but people are going to be able to buy something in Dairy Farmers Corner, and then literally go down and have an office that they can use. There'll be amazing cafes and a really great culture and lifestyle precinct underneath it. So we see that we aren't going to compromise our floor plans. We're trying to fit, you know, everyone's thinking I'm going to work from home, I need a study nook or a space.
Yep.
You know, that's a couple of square metres that you might use a few hours a day, and that's it. So we've got some big plans about activating the lower levels of Dairy Farmers Corner and allow people to live and work in their community but not compromise how they live at home.
Very interesting. And strategically, there's a big parcel of land that's coming up at the Honeysuckle precinct.
Yeah.
What are your hopes and dreams for that site?
Well, look, you know, Bob, my business partner, was here. He's got some stronger opinions than I do. But look, Newcastle is doing such a great job at making their CBD work. Like, you think that the truncation of that train line, when we started buying the land around West End, that city was cut in half by the heavy rail, and it's the best thing they've ever done. We've got the light rail going up there, got amazing beaches at the end, universities, business, and then residential. And I'm a residential developer, and you'd think that I'd be pushing to put more properties on there. I actually think the best use for that site is a lifestyle precinct. Like, let's get people to come back into the CBD of Newcastle and activate that whole foreshore. And I think that the Hunter, what's it called, the Hunter Development
Corporation?
Yeah, Corp. They've got a big job to do. There's a balance. There's going to be a need for short and long-term accommodation, but I think that precinct needs life and energy that then is going to benefit the West End, East End, and all those areas in between. So, yeah, we're going to have a really good look at that, and we've gone and met with some amazing architects and space makers or placemakers, and yeah, we would like to see, if it's not us, someone activate that part of the foreshore, bring people in, create jobs, lifestyle, amenity, and then the whole CBD will come to life, and that's what Newcastle needs.
Exciting times. Yeah. Thanks very much for joining us today, Luke.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
That's all from us. Thanks for watching. We'll be sure to keep you updated.